this is like fun with other, running friends. So I'm like, I'm going to do it because I knew it would put me in a good mood.
You are my BRF.
What's happening, Eric?
There for your victory lap.
Yeah.
Whoa!
How did that happen?
How did you do that?
And all of a sudden I go to zip it up and I'm like, why is the zipper in the front right now? 0 out of 10 on the recommendation scale.
I am literally crying from laughter and from so much love. Oh my God.
It's like I see off for your cornhole.
And he just smashed Arnie like that and said, you stay out of this, Arnie. And I thought,
I don't run to stay sober. I get to run because I am.
And there she was, a halo over her head.
No, it's not freaking true. Okay. And he steps to the side and just gestures. Here's the tinkle pot. I don't need to tinkle.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to episode 232 of the On the Runs podcast. And we got a special bonus episode with you today as we're going to go and talk to one of our PODFAM favorites from 86 episodes ago who just ran a 50K for his first ultramarathon. I'm not even going to say hello to my co-host first. I'm going to say the Clydesdale Runner, Chad Zimmerman. What's up?
What's up? I mean... Not to shade Erica, but yeah, that's
Wait,
a
there's
little,
a new
rude,
ultra runner
yeah,
in the
yeah.
house.
This is the Chad show today. You don't need to talk to me. We're good.
Yeah, no, Well, and the problem is I can't be Chad Runs Ultras or Chad Ultra Runs because we already got one of those. So
We have a Chad Ultra.
Yeah.
Wait, you can be Ultra
You-
Chad
you-
then.
yeah,
So
I was
going to
say, yeah.
Chad and a Chad
Ultra
Ultra.
Chad.
There we go.
Ultra Clydesdale.
yeah. Well, and it's funny because I did tinker around once I started dabbling in the trails in early this year and kind of late last year, and I was gonna start doing trail shoe reviews and started running trails. I was like, should I update the username? I'm like, no, because I'm definitely not diving full into trail. It's going to be kind of a corollary to what I do, and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is leave kind of the and I'm going to put this in quotes, the brand I've established. I didn't want to leave that and then all of a sudden have someone swoop in and start putting some bad taste on the Clydesdale Runner name. So I decided to keep it.
I agree. I actually think it's perfect. Now, I don't really know if it truly fits because I saw a picture of you.
He's looking svelte.
You might
guys.
not be a Clydesdale anymore.
Well, and it's funny. I had someone say that the other day, and people have commented on my post because I've let's just say from a body composition standpoint, I've had a very good 2026. Spent a lot of time. I had already spent a lot of time in the gym, but as I say, abs are built in the kitchen. So
Yes.
I spent a lot of time really once the new year turned over, I decided, because I was going to be running an ultra and on my feet for 6+ hours and doing 31 miles, I'm like, well, it's one of those scenarios where lighter might in fact be better for me. So yeah, I mean, in 2026 alone, we're now mid to late May. I'm down a little over 40 pounds just in 2026 alone. So
Good for you, dude. Hard work
Yeah.
pays off.
yeah, no, and when I say nutrition wise, that's literally all it was. My activity level remained the same. I didn't change my running schedule, my lifting schedule. I kept everything the same. I just started really focused. I had always eaten healthy and clean and used food as fuel, but I ate more intuitively. I kind of ate what I wanted until I was satiated, and now I've focused a little bit more on the numbers and things like that. And yeah, it's been good. I still have, I think, a little way to now. I will always be a Clydesdale. It really doesn't matter how much more.
Well, you're not going to shrink.
No, and that's the thing. And
Tall.
I'm 6'3". I think the lowest I'll get down to is in the 220s, which it will still, I think, qualifies me as a Clydesdale. I'm still gonna.
Yeah,
Claim that
225
title, yeah.
actually, I think by Ironman standards is Clydesdale. I think it's 225.
Which I might be.
Are you going to try?
That's on the 2027 calendar.
Oh
Yeah.
boy!
Yeah,
Do you want a
I already-
bike?
Somebody
I already
new to
bought
focus
one.
on.
I already bought
I
one.
just put mine up for sale.
It's funny. I already bought one. I had a buddy. I went to just kind of, my wife was out of town and I went to a party with our kids. Our kids were all playing together. went to a party. I'd had a couple margaritas, and I was talking to the dad who was hosting the party, and trying to get him to run a race with me next year, just a half marathon, because he's an athlete. He runs, he does a lot of rucking, and he also cycles, so he's a pretty fit guy. And I said, do you want to go run this race with me? He's like, well, I'll do that, but on one condition. Next year I want to do a half Ironman in the summer. Will you do it? Now, I had a couple strong pour margaritas at that point in time. And so I said yes. And then lo and behold, a few days later, I had bought myself a used, I hadn't been on a non-stationary bike since 2009. I bought myself a road bike. I've already done a 35-mile ride. So yeah. So next June, well, I'll come back on and I can tell you about my triathlon experience, but.
I love this. I love that it's going to be you. No, I love that everybody else is going to do one and I can just sit here and listen. That's what I want to do. I want to revel in all of your accomplishments so I don't get suckered to do it.
But yeah, no. As of right now,
it's on the list.
It's on the list.
Right on, buddy.
I'm basically booked up through like mid 2027. So as much as I would love to get back on the trails, I am looking at the schedule for maybe a fall 2027 return to the ultra world. But as of right now, I'm pretty booked through. We can go over it later, but I'm pretty booked through 2027.
Well, I want to go back to this transformation, and abs are made in the kitchen. Did you have any help here? Like, I know you do a lot with Believe in the Run, and they have some nutrition coaches, right? Or did you where did you get all this data or all this information to be like, I'm going to crunch these numbers, do this, do that. I'm going to stop eating when I feel full.
Yeah.
Like, how did you go about that?
So I had done that, or I had done it in the past. I had lost weight in the past, and I had been on kind of a health journey, but I got to a point where I was sort of at homeostasis with, in terms of like the calories, because it literally, like, science says it is calories in versus calories out. And your body has its metabolic rate. And as long as you eat in a calorie deficit, you're gonna burn fat. And I did my best, obviously, to continue hitting the gym to kind of preserve muscle. So the weight I was losing wasn't muscle. It was losing mostly fat. So yeah, it was pretty self-explanatory. I just kind of set a threshold. I started actually like tracking what I was eating. I used the MyFitnessPal app, and everything that went in my gullet, if a drink had calories, like I marked it down. The creamer in my coffee, I was measuring everything out. We had a food scale we had for a while, and so I started actually like
using
measuring.
Yeah.
And it's the shocking thing was, like, I would say to myself, I'm like, yeah, like what I was eating before, like, yeah, that was one serving of Dots seasoned pretzels, and then all of a sudden I actually measured out what one serving is. I'm like, oh crud, I was eating like 5 servings. And so it's like, okay, so that 150 calorie snack I thought I was having was actually about 750 calories. Oh, okay. So that's why like things had kind of stagnated. And so, and once you get into that routine and rhythm, like it just kind of like it's second nature. And now
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making big changes. That picture, dude, was just like, were you hiding it or did I just miss it? Because
I mean, I had just been kind of sharing it along the way, and it had been slow. Like I had kind of, like I said, I had stagnated for a while in terms of like body comp. I was definitely building muscle and like losing fat slowly, but like my weight wasn't really changing. And then this was just like, as soon as I started actually tracking, like I was losing like constant, like it was just drop. It's slower now, obviously, because I dropped a lot very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still about anywhere from and what I do is I weigh myself every day, but I take a weekly average to kind of track measurement. I'm not focused on what it does on a daily basis. And yeah, I mean, I'm still consistently a half pound to a pound a week loss. So yeah, I have some stuff going on in the fall that I'd like to be a little bit lighter for, but we'll get there.
Gotcha.
Well, now the reason we're here is because you just did a 50K. Not only that, you crushed a 50K. That video of you at the end, like you were flying.
So strong at the end of a 50K.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you said you, at some point in the last year, transitioned to the trails. What brought you to the trails?
So
or should I say, driveway to trails?
Yeah.
How do you go DTF or driveway to forest? Sorry, that's what it is.
Yeah.
DTF.
So for me, and actually for me, getting to the trails actually is a drive. Like to get to a good trail system where I could do trail long runs, I had to hop in my car and drive about 25, 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So like my weekends were a commitment of like getting in the car super early, getting there, having my headlamp. And so for me, the transition to trails and the entire idea of doing an ultra was I had spent basically since I started getting back into running in 2022, which anyone can listen back to episode 146 and hear kind of my return to running and whatnot and my stuff with Believe in the Run. I had been sort of chasing times, chasing performance, trying to go out and hit a new PR, trying to do this and trying to do that. And I was kind of at the point where I was like, all right, I've been doing this for a while, and there had been some successes. There had been some like setbacks. Like I didn't, if you recall, when we did the Chicago check-in, I didn't have the best day in Chicago and I was a little frustrated. And I then transitioned well after that. And I went out and I used the fitness I built up in Chicago to go run a half marathon PR in November, like I think like 3 or so weeks after Chicago. So
right on.
So at that point, like I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with the idea of chasing PRs. Like if they happen because I get myself fit, I wanted to focus more on like new experiences. So then I was like, well, the one thing I really haven't ventured in and running is trails. So I started looking around me for like what, and there was a couple trail networks. There was a series of trails sort of near where my gym was at the time that I could go to pretty easily. And they had, you could easily do like a 5 or 6 mile run on those trails because there was like 4 or 5 different trails, but it was a smaller little preserved woods area. And then there was another place up in Mount Gretna near where we live. It's like 25 minutes. And that's where like I could do 15 to 18 mile trail, the long runs and things like that. And that trail also had access, and like you could access a great rail trail like off those trails. And so you could really diversify the kind of the terrain and simulate different elevation stuff. So I wanted to experience something new. I didn't want to like chase the time. I wanted to go in with something where I had no prior PR. So like no matter what I did, I wanted to finish. I wanted to experience the trail. So that was the impetus of signing up. And then obviously I didn't really start my quote unquote training block for the 50K. I only did like a 12-week build because I knew from a fitness perspective, I had just run a marathon. I had like marathon level fitness, but I needed obviously the fine tuning of getting my body used to the different stimulus of the trails and getting my ankles and hips and knees like understanding. And running in trail shoes is like functionally different because you got lugs, you have different feel underfoot. And on the roads, I've started to appreciate a good amount of cushion, but on the trails, I've started to appreciate that firmness and keeping me stable. And so, yeah, it was just kind of trying something new was really what my goal for 2026 was, which is also part of when I said trying new things, like actually measuring my measuring my food intake and caloric intake. That was all wrapped up into it. And like I said, I didn't chase anything. I went out and I did my miles. I did it kind of at my own, and the results kind of sort of speak for themselves in terms of just going out and enjoying. I didn't do all of my long runs on the trails. I did some on the trails. The course I was running was more of a runnable. There was only about 2,000 feet of elevation gain over it. So
it wasn't like super technical?
It wasn't super technical. There were a couple technical sections that you kind of had to walk, and there wasn't a ton of vert. So it was, I did my longest training run actually I did a 24-mile training run on a rail trail just because I was like, look, I just want to get the time on foot.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I said, I wasn't really chasing anything. And then when I did that 24-mile run, had I gone another 2.2 miles, I would have set like a 20-minute marathon PR, like in a training run, So
oh my
like,
God.
and I think that all comes part and parcel to the fact that I was lighter, I was moving faster, and just I was generally moving better. Plus, it's on a rail trail, so it's easier on the joints. But that's no one around, no crowd support. Like I'm carrying my own fuel. Like there's no bottles or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I went out. I had a day at the New York City Half Marathon in March, which once again I entered the lottery for, got in, and was just gonna run that for fun as like an experience, and was just blown away by the event. And I ended up going out and setting a new 8-minute PR,
That's
going
huge.
sub 2 for the first time. So it was like all this kind of stuff built on the success I was having and just kind of being out there and enjoying myself. I wasn't, during this training block, I didn't do any speed work or tempo runs, just because I was like, I'm more about building up the endurance and the mileage.
Yeah.
So the leg turnover and all that stuff, it just kind of came naturally from being a little bit lighter and just kind of being out there enjoying. I mean, at the NYC half, I went out full intent. I was running in not a new pair of shoes, but I was still like writing my review for the Mount to Coast C1. So I had told this guy Lynn, who works for Mount to Coast, he's a big name with the brand. I told him I would run NYC in the shoe and then report back on how it performed. And I went out with no expectations, and I ran like a 10-minute first mile because I was just settling in and enjoying Brooklyn. Then I stopped to use a porta potty during mile 2 because I'm like, it doesn't care. Like, I don't care. I'm just running for fun.
Yeah.
And so I ran like an 11-minute second mile. And then all of a sudden, like my third mile was in the low 9s. And all of a sudden my fourth mile is in the low 8s. And then I'm like, wow, I'm like cruising. I got about halfway and I crossed a halfway mark and I look at my watch. I'm like, I'm on like PR pace and my heart rate's at like 140. Like I'm just like cruising.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the easiest course. Like it's reasonably hill. We had beautiful weather. It was nice and cool. But yeah, like all of a sudden I was just cruising, and then all of a sudden I get to 10 miles. I'm like, man, if I keep this up, I'm going to be close to 2 hours. And I had never like like a high 207 was my PR. And sure enough, I felt good the rest of the way, cruised on in, and I sprinted across the finish to a 1:59:19, I think. So
damn,
yeah,
dude.
and that's all, and that is all part of like I'm just here to experience and enjoy this. And same thing with experiencing.
Sometimes that's for the best when you're just like, you get your head out of it, and instead of putting all that pressure on yourself, you're just in it for fun. And if it happens, it happens. And that's just the best feeling, especially when you have a good pair of shoes like that. Like I love me some Mount to Coast shoes. Like I was gonna I'll ask this eventually too. Might as well ask it now. But like, what shoes did you wear for your 50K? Were they Mount to Coast?
No,
like I love those. Like the H ones are my favorite.
So the H ones were in the running. I had done a 20-mile training run on the rail trail in the H ones. Felt good during. Afterwards, I noticed my recovery was a little bit tougher in them. They didn't have as much underfoot as I really felt like I needed to be in them for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I was between two shoes. I was going to run in either the H1, because even though it's not technically a quote unquote trail shoe, it's gravel hybrid, because the trail wasn't technical and there isn't a ton of vert. I had talked to some Believe in the Run people I knew who had run on that in those trails before in races, and they had said, look, you can get away with a hybrid shoe. As long as it doesn't rain in the days leading up or race day, because then those trails get sloppy and disgusting and you can't even run even with trail shoes. So I was between the H1 and also the Salomon Aeroglide 4 gravel version. The Aeroglide 4 gravel had a bit more underfoot in terms of like cushioning while still being sturdy and stable.
Yeah.
Had a comfortable fitting upper.
Best of both worlds.
That's where I ended up landing.
Very nice.
I actually brought like 4 pairs of shoes with me because I was trying to decide, because the weather forecast was like iffy. They were calling for potentially rain during the whole race. So I had brought the Salomon Ultra Glide 4 with me. I had brought the Adidas Terex Agravac 3, and I had brought the the normal Tomier 2.0 because I thought the Adidas and the normal would drain a little bit better if it was rainy. The others would kind of hold on to the wet and the mud a little bit.
You're not going to want to have wet feet during that whole race. No way.
And we can circle back to race day later, but the weather ended up holding off, so I did the whole thing in the Aeroglide 4 gravel. So,
well, let's still celebrate your half marathon accomplishment because that's huge. And that was just like, I just love that you're just going into it with an open mind, just wanting to have fun, explore, check out the scene, and it paid off. Like that's a huge PR for you. 8 minutes. Like
I was looking it up. It was 8:57 pace. This is going off your Strava data.
Beautiful.
And 1:59.23. So yeah, dude, crushed it. Sub 2 hours. That's awesome. Let's talk about this 50K. Let's go to race day, but let's go just before race day. What 50K was it, and how did you pick this race?
So it's called the Dirty German 50K. It's in Pennypack Park in Northeast Philadelphia. Basically, like it's almost as far in the northeast portion of Philadelphia as you can get. If like you go out of the park, you're in like Jenkintown and not in Philly.
Oh.
So I picked it because it's, and I'm going to put this in quotes, it's local to me. I'm in Pennsylvania. It was an hour and 20-minute drive. It was a good time to go. It was a good time to go out. It was Mother's Day weekend, which I had to kind of balance Mother's Day weekend, and we'll get back to that. But yeah, it was fairly local. I had known people who had run races in that park before, so I could kind of bounce some questions off them. Uber Endurance, who puts on the event, is like well renowned. They're actually sort of local to where I live. They're renowned for the quality of the events they put on and the popularity. So I knew it was going to be a great event. And also it is labeled as a great first timers 50K because there isn't a ton of vert. The course is very runnable. So someone who's new can come in, and if you don't have a lot of experience with technical terrain or hiking, there are a few sections where you're in the park and you end up on paved path too. So like there's sections like that, and that so it was very attractive because of that. Also not super expensive, very reasonably priced, good swag. I got a nice quarter zip and the metal's great, and I got a hat too. At the end.
Registration right now is $80, and that's what a good quarter zip usually costs.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's why I landed. And also the timing was pretty perfect with it being early spring. I knew I had entered the lottery for New York. I think when I registered for the Dirty German, I didn't know whether I was in the New York City half yet or not, but I said to myself, if I do get in, it's kind of in that window where it wouldn't impede me to go to New York overnight to run a half marathon. It wouldn't impact me at all. Actually, it would be a good training thing. We were going on a family vacation in February. We were going down to Florida and then going on a cruise. So I'm like, the timing is perfect that if I get back, I can do a 12-week build starting right when I get back. I'm like, that'll be kind of perfect for me with the fitness I had already built. So yeah, it kind of, the stars lined up for it. So yeah, that's how I picked that.
Excellent.
How long was each lap?
So a little over 15 and a half. I think it came out to like 15.75. So it's 2 loops. They do a 25K, which is 1 loop.
Yeah.
They do the 50K, which is 2. Then they have a 50 miler where it's not 3. Well, it's 3 loops, but they have like a little add-on loop to it that you do if you're doing the 50 miler that adds the additional mileage to each loop. So
I'm looking at the course map now. Okay, so it's not really a looped race like Anchor Down, which you would do, Erica, where the aid station is always at the start.
Yeah, that one's way too big to be like an Anchor Down race.
This one has 4 aid stations spread out throughout the course. So kind of what was your game plan of attack? Because you're out there, you're only going to be back to base camp once.
Yep.
Right.
So I had bought myself a vest that I wore for a lot of my training on the trails, but I decided against wearing it. 1, because they had a good amount of aid stations. 2, I didn't love the feeling of adding additional weight to my upper body. I was going to wear half tights. I have plenty of pocket space for gels. I knew I was going to get to the halfway point and be able to like replenish my nutrition. So I actually decided to run with my handheld instead, that I filled with high carb, Tailwind high carb, that every aid station I would refill. So I would drink a little bit between aid stations, maybe about halfway, and I would drink some water at the aid station, but then I would have them refill my bottle, which would dilute the high carb. And then I had another pack of high carb for when I got to the midway point, so I could replenish that. I think that's like 90 grams of carbs in that. And then I was probably an anomaly because I did not eat a single thing from any aid station. I wasn't hungry. Like I had a bagel in the morning.
Chad, ultras are for the
I know. I heard that from a lot of people, but I was full. I had a bagel before I left. I had one of the SIS energy oat bars like right before the race. And I normally run on a fairly empty stomach anyways. And between all the gels, I did take chews, which I guess if you call that eating.
Not quite the good ultra
all
snacks.
Right, and when I say nothing, I did take a couple handfuls of gummy bears. I think that was basically all I had. But like,
you go.
But I'm running through, and they had everything. They had grilled cheese sandwiches. They had peanut butter and jelly. They had bacon. They had like a whole menagerie of things. And I was just like, I'll take a couple gummy bears. But I wasn't really hungry, and I was like, I know I don't want to do anything that'll just mess with my GI tract. So
you got a point.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ask you about something that looked really awesome, and it's because it involves multiple PODFAM here. But as you're setting up for the race, our man, Herm, shows up to this race unannounced. You did not know. Like, I don't know if you were checking the list of who signed up and stuff or when he did.
Nope.
But all of a sudden, he just makes a post about, I'm coming to support my buddy, Chad.
Yep.
And you had no clue. This is a surprise.
No clue. Yeah, so I knew he had been in the Philly area. I mean, he's from the area. He's here all the time.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, as he always says.
But he's a Bruins fan.
I knew he had run Broad Street the weekend before and then absolutely demolished, like crushed Broad Street. Like major props to him. I've run Broad Street. It's a great race. It's a fun race. He flew on Broad Street. So I knew he was generally in the area. And yeah, he popped up. I did have my buddy Steve, who lives in Princeton, New Jersey. He's been my best friend since we were like 3 years old. He came and met me in Philly on Friday night. We were staying at an Airbnb in downtown Philly. So he came Friday night, and he was coming to the race with me to be kind of my support and be there with all my stuff. And so he had come and we were getting set up. Like basically I brought him a camping chair. I'm like, hey, plop yourself down for like 6 hours and enjoy and
bring a book.
He took naps. My wife did actually send a book for him, one of the steamy romance novels.
I love it.
So we ended up, we were just getting set up under the tree, and then all of a sudden I turn around and there he is. He and some of his friends were getting their giant canopy tent set up, and there he is. Yeah, so he's like, I'm here. I was like, oh, you're running, like, what are you gonna do today? He's like, I'm here to pace you. I'm like, oh my God, all right, let's go. Because I at least then knew, like, I'm like, all right, I got someone with experience. He's done 50Ks. He's done more than that. So like, I know he's coming up Broad Street, but like his paces now are like even faster than mine. So I know, I'm like, all right, I got someone who can kind of rein me in if I start to get a little frisky, like, so that'll be perfect. And and then it's funny, obviously he's one of the best content guys in the game, so he's making some content along the way, and we're going, and I'm feeling great. Like we're cruising, and slowly but surely, like I could tell, like he was starting to enter the pain cave a little bit. There were there's a lot of up and over tree, like there's trees across, there's a lot of up and overs, there's a lot of like all that other stuff. So it's an
obstacle course
too.
So
sort of there are some areas, there's some creek crossings, but not like ankle deep, like you could actually walk across the stones because it hadn't rained, like the weather was beautiful. But so coming off the impressive run he had done at Broad Street, his quads, which Broad Street is a net, when I say net downhill, it is a slow downgrade. Basically, it's like running on a rail trail the whole way from like northern Philly down to the stadiums. It's downhill the whole way, having run it. So it destroys your quads. And so he had gone out and done an incredibly hard effort like the week before. So I ended up waiting for him. There was a section, it was maybe about 12 miles in. So it was only about 3 or so miles left in the loop, on the first loop. And I had gotten him to a section where there's a little clearing, and I was actually enjoying a nice breeze because in the canopy of the trees, you don't get a lot of breeze. So there's a little clearing, and I'm sitting there, and I waited for like a couple minutes for him to come up the slope. He's like, yeah, today's not my day. The quads are shot. He's like, go do your thing, like go run. So he says I dropped him, but I did it with consent. It was a
blessing, right?
Consensual drop. Because I was enjoying the time we were spending out there. I was perfectly fine waiting for him. He was helping kind of keep me engaged and in it. And we were 12 miles in, and like, to me, it felt like nothing. And I felt like we were really cruising pretty good. But yeah, no, I can't blame him. He ended up, and it's funny because after I left, I'm like, if I were him and my quads were hurting and I was coming to pace someone who just like took off, like even with permission, is like, I would not be running that second loop. And sure enough, yeah, he called it quits after 25, which I can't fault him for. But that also meant that I was able to get some pretty good finish and photos at the finish line coming across.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a pretty epic finish line run. We'll get to the finish line soon, but bring us there. Tell us about your day. Like, I almost think him pacing you for that first loop, or the first part of that loop, was perfect because it really let you settle in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it helped keep me, like I said, the course is very runnable. So it's very nice that like, yeah. And I hiked the steep inclines. There were a few like gradual inclines that I'm like, I should just power up this. I'm feeling good. And yeah, having him there was good. Like we talked stuff that we had going on, kind of keeping me in the zone mentally. I had made the mistake of, I had downloaded what I thought was the course map on Strava, and I had uploaded it to my watch just in case, even though the course is really well marked and I never needed it. The only problem was I think it was an old course map, so my watch was beeping at me the whole time telling me I was off course, the whole time. And so I ended up kind of getting to a few points where I like missed my nutrition cues because I was like, just shut up, watch. Like, and then I would look, I'm like, oh, I'm at an hour and 10 minutes. I need to take a gel, or I need to take some chews. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, having him there was good. It kept me engaged and it kind of avoided me going out too hard because it was runnable and I was feeling really good. Like I said, my friend Steve and I were staying in Center City, Philadelphia. So we had like a 30-minute drive. That's how far it actually is outside. It was like a 30-minute drive to get to the park.
What was the area called again? I'm going to Google Maps this.
Pennypack Park is where it is. And we were staying in Callow Hill, which is like very close. It's like on Spring Garden, like, which is the road where the art museum is in Philly. So, yeah, we were there. We got there around, packet pickup starts around 6:30. We were there around 6:45 and just kind of hung around. They do like a staggered start. So they do the 50 miler starts at 7:30, 8 o'clock, the 50K starts, and 8:30, the 25K starts, just to avoid congestion and get the 25Kers done and off. But they're off. They start last, so that way they finish and then they're done. So, but like I said, the weather we got was beautiful. It was probably, when we were starting, in the like mid to high 50s. It never got higher than like 64.
That's perfect.
It was overcast the whole time. They were calling potentially for rain all of the race.
That's why you had all the shoes.
And that's why I had all the
choices,
shoes,
just in case.
Then they were slowly shifted it back, where they're saying it might start raining around 1 or noon to 1. And then I'm like, well, I'll be on my second loop by then. Do I change shoes at the halfway point into actual trail shoes instead of gravel in case it does start raining? Then I got to the halfway point in about 3 hours on the dot. And I looked at the forecasts when I went over to Steve, and we looked, and I said, all right, now they're saying 2. I'm like, I'm going to be done right around 2 if I keep this up. So, you know what? I'm rocking these shoes. I had rolled my ankle at mile 5, my left ankle.
Ooh, oh no.
I had stepped on a sharp rock and but I did kind of that like forward roll as opposed straight to the side in the fold.
Right.
So I ran through it, and it wasn't bothering me, but I'm like, I don't want to take my shoe off just in case, like, you take your shoe off and then it starts to swell. I'm like, I'm just going to power through in the Aeroglides, and if it does start raining towards the end, hopefully it won't be enough time for the course to get sloppy.
Yeah.
So sure enough, didn't rain a drop. I crossed the finish line and like a light sprinkle started, and that was really it. Like it never really came down much at all.
That all worked out in your favor, like perfectly.
It was overcast. I never had to. One of the things I was nervous about it being sunny and like in and out of the sun, and like wearing sunglasses because they kind of obscure like vision. Yep. And
I will not wear sunglasses on trail because I will trip. I trip over air basically.
Yeah, I didn't want to wear my contacts in case like my eyes would get irritated or something. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go, and my vision's good enough that it wasn't gonna be a problem. But I'm like, I don't want to wear my contacts. I don't want to wear sunglasses. And so it was beautiful the whole time. Can't have imagined a better day out there.
I'm so glad it all worked out for your first 50K. So not only was this going to be a challenge in itself, but you picked a trail race, which that takes focus, like intense determination to get you through. I mean, it is a little bit slower going than if you were on a road, but it is still so engaging because it's so different to run on trails than it is on road. Like, and I think it's so much more fun, even though it's difficult.
Yeah, I think the ankle roll at mile 5 actually sort of helped me because I was a little more hyper vigilant than I would have been otherwise. So in those late stages of the race, when your mind starts to wander, and I never, and I'm gonna, I hate saying this, I never once entered a pain cave. Good. I never got to a point where I was like, oh my God, how much do I have left? Like there were a couple guys who.
You did the work.
Yeah. Well, a couple of guys, Herms and I had been running with early on. I ended up catching back up to them on the second loop, and we ran about 10 miles together. Like just the three of us together, we chatted, like we were all going around the same pace. And so by the three of us kind of working together, we all kind of stayed engaged. And I had music, but I didn't really listen to it much because I tend to sometimes, and I talked about this on Alex's podcast. Shout out to PodFam and Monday Night Media.
Allie G, for those of you who don't know her real name.
I do tend to start to get lost in the music sometimes, and I lose focus, and I'm just, and on the roads, that's fine. Like it doesn't matter. But on the trails, like I would find myself starting to get lost in what I was listening to, and I would actually pause my music. I'm like, I need to stay engaged and focus. So yeah, I really could not have asked for a better day. I had well, and we referred to, you guys referred to the end of the race and the finish line. I had a good amount left in the tank at the end. My legs felt good. Body felt good overall. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Let's watch this.
Let's go! Let's go! Finish it out, baby! Let's go! Let's go!
You were moving. You were flying by that guy.
I love to see it.
Shout out to Herm's Run.
Everybody, give Chad a big round of applause in the comments, please. And I'll see you tomorrow.
That was awesome. I had to watch that whole thing twice to like pause it at the right point on the computer while you were sharing that amazing story.
Yeah.
The finish line was incredible. The whole check out Herm Runs on Instagram. You guys know Herm. He did a phenomenal job. I love that he showed up and surprised you. I love that he paced you for a bit, because I really think, going into your first ever trail ultra, there was this one scene early in his reel where you're running on single track. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but I always feel like the pressure to keep pace, because you got a line of people behind you. There's a guy who's like, I want to go faster, but I'm stuck going the speed of this guy in front of me, or sometimes the guy like 5 in front.
Yeah, full disclosure, our first few miles were fairly slow because we got stuck behind two runners who were taking, like, they just kind of didn't have the kind of on your left understanding, and so we were behind them, and like people were flying by us to fly by them, and then eventually Alex and I were like, all right, we need to, like, they kind of pulled off a little bit to the right side of because the single track was like, there were some areas where it was narrow, some where you could run two abreast. But I mean, we basically ran single file for most of it. There were some areas where the trail widened and we would run side by side.
Awesome.
But we kind of flip flopped on who was running. I actually, there were a few times I was in front, a few times I was in back, and we just kind of flip flopped from who was kind of pacing and who was leading. So that made it work out as well too.
I was so pumped for you, dude. When I saw that picture and I'm like, who's this guy? Because I think I saw you were doing the work, but I never really saw the result until right when it was go time. And I was like, wow, I was so pumped. And I remember sending you a couple messages saying how pumped I am. And I just want to tell you right now how proud I am.
Me too.
So awesome. I'm ready.
I just love when new ultra runners are born. I'm like, welcome to the world that I love so dearly. And I hope that you enjoyed it too. I hope it doesn't scare you off from doing another one someday. I know you said maybe in the future, but it really isn't a scary thing. Like, you just have fun with it.
I already have my research done. And if things go, I have a tentative plan. And this is after I did talk to the person I know who ran the 50 miler, and he runs ultras seemingly a couple a month, 100 milers, 50 milers, like everything, 100 Ks. He runs a lot of ultras, and I knew he was who I turned to when I was asking questions about the course, and I knew he was running the 50 miler. So I have talked to him since, and I kind of went over like the day and how good a day we had, how good a day I had out there. And I was like, all right, well, like I'm trying to decide where to go next. Cause like I said, and we'll go over kind of my schedule. I do have up through June 2027 planned. And
see, no gamophobia here.
Yeah. And so ultimately right now, if my plan that I have on the books, and if like my training goes well, and if my increase in fitness goes well, my next 50K may be a training run
for Cocodona 250.
No. We did just have one of our third division reviewers, Alex, do Cocodona. She finished in 99 hours or something crazy.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, so she just did Cocodona and she crushed it. I mean, Rachel Entrekin doing it in 40 hours, 52 hours or whatever she did. It's insane. With 19 minutes of sleep over 2.5 days. But no, so my next 50K, which I'm targeting potentially next fall, may be a training run, and I may dabble in either the 50-mile distance flat, or look for maybe a 12-hour looped event. And try to get 50 miles in those 12 hours.
Anchor down.
So
throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Anchor down ultra.
I do have a couple in mind. There's one, actually there's one. Down. Yeah. There's one put on by Uber Endurance who did, who put on the 50K I did. It's in Delaware. It's a Delaware trail festival. It's a 7.5 mile loop on pretty non-technical trail in a park in Bear, Delaware. And that's
when does this one fall?
That is in October. I think it's October 2020. Well, it's October 2026, and then I assume October 2027 as well. There is a 50 miler that I have in mind that my friend told me is a good introduction to the 50 mile distance, which is in Maryland, and that's in November. So if I decide,
don't have either of those states.
if I decide to go, and my the looped one in Delaware is convenient for me because I have an aunt and uncle who live 1 mile from the park, where like they literally live across the street from the park where it takes place. So I'd have a place to stay and like crash and be my home base to go out and do the 12-hour one. So that's sort of the lead in the clubhouse, I think, for the convenience factor. But and also it kind of has that kind of wiggle room where it's like, all right, I'm feeling really good. Let me get a new distance PR. But if I get to like 40 and I'm like, I'm done. Hey, I got to 40. And so like, I don't have a DNF of like not getting to the 50 mile mark. So
That's why I love timed races, because there really is no DNF and you can just do what your body's going to let you do that day. I mean, you always have your personal goal, like your stretch goal, but it's not a big deal if you don't hit it. There's always next year or another race, and just the timed ones, like, it gives you options. You have lots of options.
That's sort of where I'm targeting my next fall being, like I said, assuming things go well with my current fitness trend and getting up. I mean, obviously that would be a far bigger training commitment. So it would take a lot of work, but I think I'm ready to take it on. It would just need to be something that, and I'm not going to do something that I think would, hinder any sort of progress or be too much of a stretch. So I do have to take that into consideration.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of cool shit, man. No gamophobia, as Erica said. You've got a plan. And at the same time, you're still doing the shoe reviews for Believe in the Run. You're still very involved. They make you look so good on camera. It's insane.
That's all Carl. That's all Carl. That's editing tricks and
or it could just be the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
a little bit of what you're doing in the kitchen, man. So proud of you. I love this. Thanks for coming on and doing this. What do we call it, Erica? A recap?
Yeah.
A 50K recap. Tara and Lindsay are going to be so mad that we've done a couple of these since their last recap. So sorry, not sorry. Yeah. This was a lot of fun. I don't think you've been on the podcast yet this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you my last question for a hot take, brought to you by My Race Tats. I know this is a little extra bonus episode. My Race Tats. Thank you, everyone. Check them out in the show notes. But Chad, give me a hot take for 2026.
Hot take for 2026 is, oh man, that's a tough one. There's so many hot takes out there.
Your pasta dinner guest helped us kick off the year, Chiara D'Amato.
Actually, I was just chatting with her earlier about protein pretzels. Deal. Yeah, we were chatting on Instagram about
those are a thing.
You have not had.
This is gonna be about to change my life, isn't it?
do you like? Well, so the flavor I've had, they are like dill pickle flavored protein pretzels. They're so good. Like we would get them at like Costco. I can't remember the brand, but if you Google protein pretzels,
send it to me later.
I think that's your hot take. Get some protein pretzels.
Hot take, and so, all right. So the hot take is many running folks out there say lighter isn't always better, but for some of us that is the case. Some of us that are out there running with a little bit more, so long as you do the other corollary work of getting strong, because there are people who go out and lose weight, but they don't strength train. Go out, lose the weight, strength train, get stronger in addition to getting lighter, and the results will follow. So my hot take is when a lot of people say lighter isn't always better, for some of us out there, the Clydesdale category, that is not always true.
I'm there too. I'm a Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Technically.
I think I'm a Philly. I think that's what they call the female version. Like I literally fit in that category.
No, they're a Athenas.
Yeah.
Athena.
Right?
I think there's like different ones. Yeah. Yeah. I've been both.
Well, and I'm gonna circle back. I'll probably be on if you guys do a follow up after NYC in the fall, you can call me.
I'm sure we will.
I'll have my phone, on me. I'll be pacing my friend Cindy in her first marathon. She did 9+1 last year. So she defied the odds. She got into the Brooklyn half lottery and the United NYC half lottery. And once she got into those two, she had said, she's like, all right, well, I'm in these two big races. I might as well just do 9+1 because you can do some virtual races as well.
Oh, those count. All right.
So there's a certain threshold where you can do some virtual, but you also need obviously your volunteer. So I think she had to go to the city maybe 5 times to race and 1 volunteer, and then the rest she did virtually. She lives about an hour north of the city. She's one of my wife's friends from childhood. So she and I did, she was actually at Reach the Beach the year I did Reach the Beach recently. So she was there on our team. But so she had said, hey, do you think you could get into NYC with me? And I was like, I mean, I can try. I might be able to back
That is
alley.
a loaded question.
Well, I might be able to back alley my way to a bib through my connections with Believe in the Run, and maybe I can try and finagle that. Like, I really didn't want to do charity again. I love charity. I love fundraising.
It's still a lot of stress.
It's a big time commitment. Like, I raised a lot of money for Chicago, and I treated it like you almost have to treat it like a part-time job. So I didn't want to do that. So I'm like, even though I might be able to get a bib from Believe in the Run, I'll enter the lottery. And sure enough, I got in through the lottery. So I was one of the 1%. But so my lottery luck luck's pretty good. I think I'm like 4 for 6.
Nice.
I
In
hope
lotteries.
you play the lottery.
Yeah, no, I need to. My wife and I did enter London together, so we'll see. But I did
enter every year and it never happened.
I got in first try to Cherry Blossom, first try to Broad Street, first try to NYC half, first try to NYC marathon.
If you get into London, I will be like, this guy.
Yeah,
you need to buy some legit lottery tickets.
Yeah, we'll see about
do.
that. But yeah, so I'll be at NYC, and then I have some other things percolating.
Maybe we'll be at NYC. Maybe. If we are,
live pod.
I might need to pull you in.
Live pod. I'll be there.
I might need to pull you in for a live pod.
I'll be there with my friend Cindy. We got a nice hotel right. I think we're right in like the Times Square area. So
yeah, nice. Last thing I want to do. So much for a 30-minute episode, right? 30-minute recap.
Yeah.
I want to share this picture just because, dude, I'm so proud. Look at who is this guy? Boom.
That would be
put in the work.
I think I took that the Friday before I left for Philly. I went, and of course I went and got my gym workout in before I left. Got in the car to go to Philly.
Even hoist. That's what your shirt says.
Yep, that was my that was a birthday present in April from my wife and kids.
It looks awesome.
So
you look so good, dude. Yeah. I'm so happy. You look so good. So
putting in the work, and
you're still Clydesdale qualified.
Oh yeah.
So when you do this triathlon, you can be a Clydesdale.
I will still be there.
And you don't need to be like top-notch speed to qualify for Worlds or Kona.
It's a half Ironman. Does that count?
I know, but one day you're going to do the full. Come on. Let's not
kid yourself. I did buy the bike, so who knows? We'll see.
A road bike or a tri bike?
Road bike. What's
the size? Are you a 56?
I think I got a 58.
Oh, my triathlon bike's a 56.
Yeah,
might be. I
did some research before. I got a Specialized road bike. It was a 1990s bike that had been rehabbed and was in like great shape, and I got a good deal on it. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace. Help me sell mine right now. I posted it the other day.
I did. Someone had a tri bike posted locally near me, like a really nice one. I think I had it listed for like 300, and I'm like, I know I just bought a road bike, but maybe I should go to tri bike.
I listed mine for 1,600.
Yeah, my wife, and then of course, like after I decide I'm doing the triathlon, now all of a sudden I'm buying goggles, I'm buying accessories for the bike, and she's like, "You are just like." I go all in, and that's my friend Addison, the one who was convincing me to do it. He hadn't even necessarily wrapped his head around the fact that he was going to do it, because he was doing a 100-mile charity bike ride. Actually, the Friday before I ran my 50K, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to see how I feel on that, and then I'll decide if I want to do the half Ironman." But I had already bought my bike. I had already started. I was like, "No,
don't
man,
back out now, dude."
Just so you know, you started this train in motion. Like I'm 100% in. I almost don't care if you do it. I'm doing it. So,
but it's nice if somebody is there with you. I mean,
And then, and I did. Like I said, we did he was training for his 100-mile bike ride. He and I went out for like a 35-mile ride together. I think it was like my third ride on the bike. Generally, I did have to buy a new seat because my Clydesdale hind parts did not comport well with the seat that came on.
Yeah, but everybody gets their own seat that's perfect for them. I did too. I got a seat with like two of the whatever, the bananas.
I got a seat with
comfort is key.
I got one with like a cutout in the middle to relieve like pressure off my sit bones and like nice wider so my sit bones actually like sit on something as opposed to like collapsing off the edge.
Yeah, smart. It's awesome. I love it. I wish I had more time.
I felt great after the 35. I felt better after being on the bike for 2.5 hours for a 35-mile bike ride than
training for a triathlon is going to make you a better runner.
That's
it's cross training. Yeah.
I can only hope. I do. And I'm a very capable swimmer. It would all just be a matter of like training the stimulus and then also training the independently. If you ask me right now to go out and do the 3 elements, I could do each of the 3 elements independently. It's going to be a matter of stacking them up all sequentially in order and having to all accomplish them back to back. So
I can't wait. I want to follow that journey. I want you to keep me included. Tell me everything that's going on.
So after I have NYC, and then I have another something in the holster that I'm going to keep close to the vest for a while. And then I have
but wait.
Yeah.
You break the news on the pod.
At NYC, maybe after NYC.
If we do a live pod at NYC, which we're sending them, we're sending the email after Boston, right?
Yep.
If we do a live pod, you break it on the pod.
I will drop my early 2027 news on the pod.
You're gonna hear it here first, people.
Yep.
Yes. Let's go. But that was awesome. So much for a quick recap. Chad, you're the man. Thanks for being awesome, PodFam. Seriously, you support us so much all the time, everyone.
I love when we gain new members. I love listening, and then every time I see someone post something that I find interesting, I'm like, that's our PodFam right there.
Yes, I love it. Isn't that so cool? It's like, if you see someone at a race, PodFam.
Yep.
If you see someone posting, PodFam. Someone does an amazing accomplishment. Did you see what our PodFam did?
And like now I look. I mean, Kira D'Amato and I are PodFam. I mean, I told her she was my +1 invite to the party, and
still can't believe we forgot to mention that when she was actually on.
That's okay because I mentioned to her after the fact, so it's fine. She knew.
She's the best. She'll be back. She told us the number she wants to be back for, so it'll be in the next 100.
Yeah. But yeah, Erica, I'll send you the link to the protein pretzels. Apparently
Please do.
And the only reason Kira and I were talking about them is because she posted a flavor that I hadn't seen yet or had. So that's what got us on them.
Well, I think the dill pickle one is dill pickle's a great place to start, though. That's like right up my alley.
The dill pickle ones are great. The honey mustard was the one she posted. That sounded. I love the Dots seasoned honey mustard twist pretzels. So I'm interested to try the protein. Yeah.
Even better when they're good for you. Well, better for you.
I mean, that's when I got to Philly on Friday, I went to Reading Terminal Market because I always go there when I'm in Philly, and I got myself a pretzel dog and a full-size, like, soft pretzel. So I'm like, I need the carbs, need the protein, I'm good.
Well, Chad, you know the drill. We got to end this thing. I say my thing, Erica says hers, but I need you to throw one in because this is a full episode, baby, and you're a part of it. So, Erica, that was wicked awesome with Chad Zimmerman, a.k.a. the Clydesdale Runner, after his first 50K trail race. An ultra runner now. Man, Chad, I'm so proud of you. But Erica, take us home.
We got to throw it out one more time to My Race Tats. Thank you for supporting this guest segment. We love you as always. Chad, congratulations. We're super proud of you. I know you're off to a great start and you're doing great things, so just keep it up. And thank everybody out there for listening. You know we love you.
Don't fear the code brown.
Just go out and do it. Can't hurt.
And don't forget to stretch. was a good one, Chad.